This morning's topic is the grab bag of guilt. This is a concept I've spoken of on and off in various workshops or classes held here at the foundation. And I think it's a useful concept in terms of what the practice of forgiveness is. What the image is about, the grab bag of guilt, is that we're all walking around with this huge sack over our shoulder, like an ego Santa Claus. And in this bag, grab bag, is a whole bunch of things that we feel guilty about, from our earliest memories on through the present day. These are things that whenever we choose to defend against the truth about our reality, whenever we choose to become more and more right-minded, and the ego part of us that becomes afraid of this decision no longer to be this individual, separated, special self, we reach for anything that would remind us that the ego is our friend, the ego's thought system is our identity, and all the various toys that the ego uses, all the various forms in our physical bodily life here in the world, they represent this thought system. All of these are housed in this grab bag. These become what we go to for help. Right at the end of the last obstacle to peace, near the end of chapter 19, when we're about ready to pass through this final veil, the fear of God, and disappear into the presence beyond the veil, Jesus tells us right at that moment we become frightened. Indeed, we become terrified. And he tells us that our eyes look down and remember our promises to our friends. And these friends are basically sin, guilt, fear, and death. Right. What's in the grab bag are all the external manifestations of the thought system of sin, guilt, fear, and death, the belief that the separation from our Creator and Source actually occurred. And we go to them. Right. The problem, and this is the crux of the process of forgiveness and healing, we go to this grab bag when we need help again to defend against who we truly are as minds. But what's in the grab bag itself is not important. In fact, everything in the grab bag is not only an illusion, but a distracting illusion. Again, its purpose is to keep us from remembering that we are minds that could choose again. So the issue is never what's in the grab bag, what we think we're upset about. The issue is why we go to the grab bag itself. In a section in the text that deals with dissociation, right at the beginning of that section, Jesus tells us the problem is not what we have dissociated, but the fact that we have dissociated. Or extrapolating from that, we can say the problem is not what's in the grab bag of guilt. Again, all the different manifestations of why we are guilty, why we feel separated from love, why we feel upset, why we feel in pain, why we feel happy, indeed. Anything that reeks of our special love and special hate relationships. The problem is never the forms that guilt takes. The problem is why we choose to go to guilt in the first place. Why we choose to go to the grab bag. Again, not what is in the grab bag. Another way of saying the same thing, the problem is never the form, it's always the content. Form always has to do with behavior, with externals. Content always has to do with the mind. And in that split mind, there are only two contents. The wrong-minded thought system of the ego, sin, guilt, fear, judgment, suffering, pain, attack, and death, and the right-minded thought system or the right-minded content of the Holy Spirit, of forgiveness, healing, the miracle, peace, and the return to love. It's that the problem is what our decision maker chooses, not the forms that decision takes. So when we find ourselves upset, we should think back to lesson 5 in the workbook that says, I'm never upset for the reason I think. I think I'm upset because of what's in the grab bag. What you did to me yesterday, what you did to me 5 minutes ago, what you did to me 50 years ago, what you did to me 70 years ago, what I think you did to me, what I think you might do to me. Anything I give causative value in the world, seeing anything in the world as having the power to cause me to be upset or to be happy. So the problem is never what I think is upsetting me. The problem is why I'm choosing to be upset. And so everything comes down to purpose, which is always the central theme of this course. What is it for? Jesus asks us, tells us to ask of anything in the world, what is it for? And understanding the purpose of something will help us recognize what the problem is. So it's the purpose by which I go to that grab bag, why I choose to let things in the world upset me. That's the issue. And I go to these things so I hide from the fact that I am secretly the sinner. I'm secretly the one who chose against love and chose to be separated. I go to the grab bag to shift responsibility from what I believe I've done to what the world has done to me, thereby never having to deal with my decision-making mistake, which means I can never correct it. And if I don't correct it, I can never escape from this hell and return home to heaven.